All right, hello everybody. Toys, I know you're here. We're just, I guess, waiting on some more people here. Um, Before I get started, of course, I know we've been carrying on a bit of a conversation. I know you said you got work tomorrow, so you might be leaving us early again, which I understand. Um, Got to go and make those bucks after all. Um, Anyways, as we wait for more people to pop in, aside from the job, anything else going on for you there, Toys? We're just waiting a few minutes here, see if more people show up. Counter, of course, is reading 0 right now, but I know there's at least 2 of us in here. Uh, Not really thrilled with the counter, as it were, for its inaccuracy. Gonna make it right tonight. Whoa. Gonna make it right tonight. Oh. Hmm. True, but money isn't everything. It doesn't get you happiness unless the unless the hooker's really good. Then um, it'd be a good time, but still not having. Oh, true enough, but then again, why would you need a hooker? Probably have a good wife at home who can take care of all that kind of stuff for you. I'd imagine. Hmm. La da 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 dee da da. 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 Yeah. Well, we're waiting on the world to change. Yes, we're waiting on the world to change. And it can't be for nothing. 'Cause you're waiting on the world to change. Hmm. Hmm. So anyway, it was funny. I'm sitting in the training session, and my name came up in one of the sections. Laugh out loud. Your name came up in one of the sections. What, your real name or your screen name? Your real name or your screen name? I'm waiting on the world to change. Yes, my real name. They were talking about First Nations pottery. Ah, that's interesting. Did they? How long did it take them to realize they were talking about you? So, Toys, how long did it take them to realize they were talking about you? Or did they even realize they were talking about you? The presenter knew right away. They laughed because of it. So, did you do some pottery work? Then I take it is that because you said they were talking about First Nations pottery. Did you actually do some pottery work and get credit for it? No, they were talking about identifying pottery. Huh. Hmm. Well, we're at 7 minutes and 13 seconds right now. Um, Probably will be in another minute or so. Talking about, at least telling you what's on tap for tonight. And of course, a lot of people are. Well, we know that some people are going to be late. We know Backgoat's doing his disc golf. I know Leto released another video because I watched it and liked and shared it. He's doing some pop cult stuff there. That's when he was. I think one of the videos I watched today from him was, he was talking about, I guess, a little tit for tat between Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk. That Elon Musk got a very interesting name there. I mean, sounds kind of like a cologne. Don't know if it's a cologne I would wear, but Leto's doing pretty good on his channel. Well, yeah, I mean, he hasn't been live streaming late, but he's been doing those like little mini commentaries, which are pretty good. Oh yeah, so let's see now. Let's see now. So where are we? We're okay. Oh, we're almost at 9 minutes now. Okay, I guess now would be a good time to. Granted, I kind of wish more people were here already, but hey, whatever. Very proud of that guy. Yep, he's doing pretty good for himself. So, anyways, so we're just past the 9 minute mark. So I'm gonna go ahead and at least mention what's up for tonight, and then probably get into them. So I actually have 10 stories tonight. Four of them from Bounding into Comics, six from CBR. The six from CBR are all anime related. The four from two are from the quote unquote television section, and two are from the comic section. So got 10 in total. So yeah. So let's see, 9:48, 9:49. And we have a third person just popped in. Hello, third person. Let's see now. So, of course, among the stories, of course, include um, some more news on He-Man Master of the Universe Revelation movie. Michael B. Jordan is apparently putting together a Black Superman series for HBO Max. Of course, Frank Miller's big news in the comic scene right now, and DC's got a little bit of a thing coming out with the current run of Action Comics. And among the anime stories include a few. Let's see, a bit of a celebration of the 15th anniversary for um, Tales from Earthsea. Um, got some other bits of news. So, without any further ado, let's get going on these articles, and let's get to this. So the first story we're going to hit tonight is this one right here. Now, and start 11 minutes. So, all right. So there you see Kevin Smith's version of Tila right there. She looked kind of scowly. Again, as somebody who grew up with the Filmation version was a lot prettier. That one looks like she wants to beat the you know what out of you. Anyways, overabundant emphasis on woke content likely the reason behind Netflix losing nearly 500,000 subscribers in the United States and Canada. Oh, no wonder she's got a scowl on her face. Article by Josh Berger published yesterday on the 28th. Reviews in Television. This past Tuesday, the 20th of July, a little over a week ago, from that point, Netflix revealed that the company had seen a loss of nearly half million subscribers in the United States and Canada during this year's second quarter. The popular streaming platform said that an estimated 430,000 domestic users had unsubscribed and attributed the loss to the COVID-19 pandemic, causing lumpiness in their membership growth. All right. Dear white source, dear white people, Netflix. Oh boy. Oh, in quarter two, revenue increased 19% year over year to 7.3 billion, while operating income rose 36% year over year to 1.8 billion. So we finished the quarter with over 209 million paid memberships, slightly ahead of our forecast. I mean, in quarter two, read Netflix's most recent earnings report. It continues, quote, COVID has created some lumpiness in our membership growth, higher growth in 2020, slower growth this year, which is working its way through. We continue to focus on improving our service for our members and bringing them the best stories from around the world, unquote. Okay. Furthermore, the company believes that this loss in subscribers is the result of COVID-19 restrictions being lifted, noting, quote, the pandemic has created unusual choppiness in our growth and distorts year over year comparisons as acquisition and engagement per member household spiked in the early months of COVID, unquote. Adding that, quote, engagement per member household was, as expected, down, quote unquote. Sports cuties. Oh, goodies. That's something to be proud of there, Netflix, right? Let's see now. I'm so sick of the failed He-Man series. Yeah. Well, it's getting talked a lot about. Even the one from 2000s was better. Yeah. Well, you know what they say: get woke, go broke. While Netflix may argue that the irregularities caused by the COVID-19 pandemic are to blame for the loss in subscribers, there may be more to this phenomenon than the popular streaming platform is letting on. Breitbart recently shared a rather interesting take regarding Netflix's current dilemma, attributing the loss in subscribers to the streaming service's overabundant emphasis on left-leaning woke content. Yeah, well, I think that's been an argument that's been out there for a while. A lot of people, from myself to Tug to Yellow Flash to a lot of people, would say that that's more likely the problem. As evidence, the news and entertainment media outlet points to the fact that company co-founder and director Reed Hastings donated a sum of $3 million to fight against the referendum campaign to recall California Governor Gavin Newsom, proof of the CEO's left-leaning tendencies. Yeah, well, the fact is we are recalling Newsom, and hopefully we can get somebody in there who can fix all the problems and, try to start steering us away from leftism. But this is California after all, so even if we do get somebody in there who's conservative, it's going to be a tough road to hoe. Excuse me. According to a report from Politico, quote, the money from Hastings demonstrates, it's very easy why I read it as demon, but demonstrates that Newsom can tap into a formidable fundraising network that includes the tech industry, where Newsom retains deep ties reaching back to his days as mayor of San Francisco, unquote. Was JD Lasica by 2.0. Breitbart News. Breitbart News, Barack and Michelle Obama's We the People miniseries was also put forth as evidence. Breitbart News, Barack and Michelle Obama's We the People miniseries was also put forth as evidence of the streaming platform's left-leaning tendencies. As per Netflix's press release for We the People, the series is, quote, an exuberant call to action for everyone to rethink civics as a living, breathing thing and to reframe their understanding of what government and citizenship mean in a modern world, unquote. The argument that many leftists have been making here in America is that the Constitution is a fluid document, not a static one. In other words, it should change over time, is basically what they're saying. It should, quote unquote, reflect the values of the current time instead of going strictly by the words that they said. So, should Vic Mignogna work in? Somebody else asked that, and I answered that yesterday. Grifter boy. And I'll mention it again. Ocean Studios actually wanted it. He himself addressed this at one of his panels in the last year here. Ocean Studios actually did want to bring him up there, but they couldn't because Canada's got a thing where companies that work up there, they get a significant tax break if they use Canadian workers. So if they were to have Vic go up there, they would lose their tax break, and therefore things could be made more expensive. So Toys probably knows more about that than I would, since he lives up there in Canada. Anyways, former U.S. President Barack Obama announced the series on June 2nd, writing on his personal Twitter account, quote, Michelle and I are excited to share our latest show from Higher Ground, We the People, unquote. Quote, some of our favorite artists got together with amazing animators to remix civics, and the result is a lot better than what we had in school, unquote. He continued. Michelle Obama was also given a kid friendly cooking show on Netflix called Waffles and Mochi, in what looks like an attempt to bring back the former First Lady's questionable school lunch program, which, according to a 2015 report, saw a participation decline of 1.4 million children, or 4.5%, from school year 2010-2011 through school year 2013-2014. Moreover, in February of this year, the Obamas also announced that they were working on a live action adaptation of the refugee themed novel Exit West as part of their production deal with Netflix, which will give them the opportunity to produce content that will be, quote, touching on issues of race and class, democracy and civil rights, and much more, unquote. Translation: treasonous, American hating garbage. I will repeat that. Translation: treasonous, America hating garbage. Furthermore, Breitbart also pointed to a study conducted by One Poll, which revealed that 1 in 3 are ready to end their streaming services over the abundance of uninspired shows. And so they're lost a lot, and they're looking to lose more. And they still want to push the whole woke BS. That's kind of dumb. Um, all right. So, anyways, we continue on here. We got 3 people watching, so that's good. And so let's continue on. Regarding respondents who were planning on ending their streaming platform subscriptions, 46% said that Netflix was a platform they were more likely to cancel. In contrast, only 34% of respondents were planning to cancel their Hulu subscription, while another 34% said they plan to cut back their use of Amazon Prime. The study also revealed that respondents believe quote unquote, Tiger King was the most overhyped show of the pandemic, with similar pandemic popular series such as, quote, I Care a Lot, unquote, and Schitt's Creek. I believe that is how it's pronounced, quote unquote. Considered by respondents to be, quote, overrated television. Yeah, woke critics love it, but most people hate it. It is also worth noting that He-Man fans have had their share of disappointment with Netflix as of late, following the release of Kevin Smith's insufferably woke take on the beloved He-Man franchise, Masters of the Universe Revelation. The recently released revival of the beloved 80s series has thus far successfully managed to anger fans of the original series through a number of woke production choices, including such as having He-Man play second fiddle in his own show featuring no strong male characters and opting to focus on Teela instead. While mainstream media outlets have been singing the show's praises, of course they have, currently at a 94% on Rotten Tomatoes. Conversely, the average audience score on Rotten Tomatoes currently stands at a disappointing, albeit well deserved, 30% on the review aggregator site. Oh man, they even now that you look at this, they even try to make Prince Adam look even weaker than he was in the original. Like in the original show in Filmation, Adam I think was as tall, if not maybe even an inch or two taller than Teela. But look here, she looks like she's taller than him. He looks kind of wimpy. Now, granted, I know that was supposed to be his ideal cover. He was supposed to portray being more, seemingly more of a coward in the original to kind of cover his identity, but still, they did a lot better in the original series than they're doing here. Judging by Netflix's emphasis on woke content, it appears safe to speculate that the number of subscribers will likely continue to see a steady decline, which I would agree. What do you make of Netflix's near 500,000 loss in subscribers? Do you think the popular streaming platform's fixation on woke left-leaning content causing subscribers to flee? Be sure to let us know your. Well, I basically believe they're gonna. If they keep at it, they're gonna crash and burn. They are going to crash and burn if they keep at it, because people are going to start leaving them, and people are going to start leaving them in droves, just like people are leaving California in droves. Okay, so let's see. Is Ukraine better than Belarus or not? I don't know. I haven't been to either place, so I couldn't tell you. Anyways. So anyway, so that's that for that question. Or that article, I'm sorry. Well, let's get on to this next article here. I'm not sure if I was going to cover this, but it does have some comic related here. So we'll go on to this one. Let's see where we at. Yeah, 28 minutes. So pretty good to go there. So here we go with the next. Before I do that. See if we can fix everybody. Which was only 2 people watching. Okay. Good evening, Grifter. Good evening, Ranger. Hey, you're asking that again, man. I think a lot of us would love to see Vic work in as many venues as possible, including Canada. Okay. The chances of him actually doing that, though, are pretty slim because, again, Canada gives what happens because Vic even addressed this at one of his panels. Okay. I don't know how many times I have to go over this, but Vic addressed this in his panels, okay, in one of his panels last year. Ocean Studios, which is based in Vancouver, actually wanted to bring him in to do some voice work for them. They ultimately couldn't though because Canada's got a kind of got a thing up there. I don't know if it's a law or something in the tax code that as long as you're using Canadian citizens for your work, your taxes stay low. Your corporate taxes stay low. So you get a significant tax break by using Canadian citizens in your work. Since Vic is not a Canadian citizen, if they were to start using him, then they'd have to pay higher taxes. Okay, so anyway, now we just need Big Leto, BG Leto, May, 80, and Woody in here. Yep. I think Vic would do great as a VA in Canada, but he probably would lose money as America has more cons. Yeah, and that's a good point too. Um, that's a good point too. Excuse me a moment. I got to turn on my light here. I'll be right back. On an interesting side note, um, speaking about Canada and U.S. and their dubbing and stuff like that, Funimation actually did bring down Scott McNeil and Brian Drummond from Canada at different points to voice characters on some of their. Scott McNeil, who is known among the voice roles that Scott McNeil is known for, include Koga from Inuyasha, Wolverine from X-Men Evolution, Ace the Bat Dog, and Crypto the Super Dog. Funimation brought him down to voice Hohenheim in the first Full Metal Alchemist series they dubbed. Not Brotherhood, the one before that. And then I do remember this past, about a couple years ago, they brought Brian Drummond down to kind of reprise his role as Vegeta in a few episodes of Dragon Ball Super, when Vegeta kind of got, or when the this purple gel clone of him was made, and they brought Brian Drummond down to voice the gel clone. So that's one of the things I heard there. So, anyways, getting back to the article here. So, Michael B. Jordan developing a Black Superman limited series for HBO Max, focusing on Val Zod. Article written by J.B. Augustine, published yesterday. So here we go. Creed and Black Panther actor Michael B. Jordan's dream of bringing a Black Superman to live action is now one step closer to realization. Source: Earth 2 Society, Volume 1, Number 4, Nexus, 2015, DC Comics. Words by Daniel H. Wilson, art by Jorge Jimenez and Alejandro Sanchez. Through Collider, we have learned that Jordan is making a project for HBO Max centered on Val Zod, the Superman of Earth 2, as seen in DC's New 52 series of the same name. A writer has been hired who has not been identified as of yet. It's noted that the project set to be produced as a miniseries for the Warner Brothers backed streaming platform will be will be produced by Jordan's banner, Outlier Society. Um, but whether he will star in the project remains to be seen. Collider sources say the actor hasn't made a commitment to that degree. So he's right now just saying he's going to produce a show, but not actually act in it. Elsewhere, Warner Brothers is still moving ahead with its previously announced J.J. Abrams produced Ta-Nehisi Coates written Black Superman movie, which will be entirely separate from Jordan's series. It's unknown if Jordan's pitch for a Val Zod series will be the same one he tried to sell Warner on back in April. But either way, as noted in a previous interview given to the Hollywood Reporter, the actor's goal with a Black Superman project is clear. Source Earth 2, number 25, The Kryptonian, Part 5, 2014, DC Comics, interior art by Nicola Scott, Trevor Scott, and Pete Pentazis. Quote, it's important for people to see themselves in roles that they normally wouldn't see, unquote, he told the Hollywood Reporter in April. Quote, what that does to the next generation, to a kid or somebody that didn't think that is something that they could achieve, now they're thinking about it and daydreaming about it, unquote. However, he has also stated in the past he wants to stick with continuity and keep his spin on DC's Man of Steel, quote, authentic, unquote, by adapting Superman of color who already exists in comics, like Valzad or Earth 32's Calvin Ellis. Jodie Turner Smith and Michael B. Jordan star in Without Remorse photos. Nadja Kyler. Okay. Regarding the Abrams film, when his name came up as a potential candidate for the project starring role, Jordan made it clear, quote, I'm just watching on this one, unquote, possibly to avoid the pushback against bad reports reportedly race bent Clark Kent. As Jamie Broadneck notes in a Black Girl Nerds editorial, according to sources, Jordan has not, quote, wanted to engage in conversations about race bending Kal-El for the same reasons many of the fans are pushing back on the current Warner Brothers reimagined version of Clark Kent, unquote, but has publicly maintained, quote, that he would be interested in engaging on a Black Superman project centering on the Val Zod storyline, unquote. Let's see what you guys might be saying here. Look like we did get some people in here, and like got a few more. Did you watch High School of the Dead? Or High School? I haven't yet. I probably will at some point. Waiting for the legs of my new 3D printer toy to finish. Um, High School DxD is that one where the guy destroys the clothing of girls he touches. And why am I hearing boost boost all of a sudden? Hey, Woody. Hi, Action, Mike, whoever is reading. Hey, Woody. How you doing, man? Morning Wood from Toys. Is the hentai anime. Anyways, back to the article here. Broadnax added Warner risks looking tone deaf by race bending a quote a white character and erasing black characters that already exist in the DC universe under the Superman banner. Calvin Ellis and Val Zod, unquote. By wishing to produce his own project, Jordan is possibly signaling that he may have come to the same conclusion, similarly opting to avoid drawing fire to his brand, which is also developing a Static Shock movie. Source Earth 2, number 26 of Kryptonian, Part 6, 2014, DC Comics, cover art by J.G. Jones, Paul Mountains. When they'll get to Icon, the real forgotten man, and all this is anybody's guess. Well, yeah, the whole problem. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's like you almost get the impression that they're trying to race bend traditional characters just to just to push their agenda. When there are um, characters they can use and develop into movies. Okay, they don't have to like change up traditional characters to get their point across. Um, that's just problematic. Then let's see. Action says, "Hey, Ransom," and then Woody comes along and says, "When you put the legs on the toy, you can play the ZZ Top song in memory. She's got legs. She knows how to use them." Laugh out loud, Woody. Um, it's the bad guys from the Crystal Tower from Conan the Destroyer. Um, You watch JoJo's Bizarre? I've watched a few. I didn't get around to Golden Wind, but I've seen all the ones prior to Golden Wind. These guys are 42 minutes. Okay, so anyway, so we're done with the television part of this. Now we're gonna go into the comic book scene, and then we will from there the anime scene over on uh, CBR. Nani! I just finished one where Jotaro went to find his uncle. Laugh out loud. Oh my god. Yeah, I think that's the one with Jotaro in it, I believe. Oh, actually, no, that is the one. Yeah, that's the one where Jojo goes to find Jotaro, and even though Jotaro is technically his uncle, um, Jojo's actually older than his uncle. So that's kind of an interesting twist there. Let's see. Will you visit South? No, I don't have the kind of money to be traveling internationally. Anyways, let's get to the next article here. Action Comics 2021 Annual Number 1 introduces a new Phantom Zone straight out of H.P. Lovecraft's horror tales. Written by J.B. Augustine, published today. DC has rebooted the Phantom Zone once again, the first time since the launch of their Rebirth line, and in the process turned it into something decidedly more Lovecraftian. Now, for those of you who don't remember, don't know, the Phantom Zone was basically the prison where Krypton would send its criminals. It was basically meant more as a place to be, without substance. You just were phantoms basically in it. Source: Action Comics 2021 Annual Volume 1, Number 1, Tales of the House of L. 2021 DC Comics, words by Philip Kennedy Johnson, art by Scott Godlewski and Sia Holm. As revealed in Action Comics 2021 Annual Number 1, which presents readers with a story of the future House of L, in parentheses, first seen during the recent Future State event, unparenthesed, the Zone has once again reopened for business and is ready to take prisoners, though its latest incarnation does something drastically different than any seen before. It now turns those in its charge into gruesome tentacle monsters. And we go through that again. The issue explains that the pocket dimension known as the Phantom Zone is a quote unquote projection created by the quote unquote living mind of Aether, a powerful god. As it turns out, those sentenced to Phantom Zone internment are only allowed to remain in their regular, albeit ghostly, forms only as long as Aether sleeps. Okay. However, he is now wide awake in the Kryptonian prison dimension that was already more twisted than Arkham or Blackgate, has now become a place of living nightmares. Has become, quote, a place of living nightmares, unquote, running wild with entities called, quote, sleeping old ones, unquote. Taking a page from H.P. Lovecraft's bibliography, Aether undoubtedly perturbed by waking up on the wrong side of the bed or some other issue, has now transformed the Phantom Zone prisoners into tentacle creatures, parentheses, which bear a strong resemblance to the classic horror author's old ones, unparenthesed, and ordered them to attack any visitors to the dimension. Okay. Though it seems new and novel, the twist for the Zone has roots in Superman's history going back to 1982, when the concept of Aether and the Phantom Zone as a cosmic horror consciousness was introduced in the aptly named The Phantom Zone miniseries by Steve Gerber and Gene Colan a few years before Crisis hit. Therein, the Zone was revealed to have existed as an outer layer of Aether's mind, where the abstract thought and other possibilities of existence dreamed up by the malevolent, quote unquote, oversoul resided. Phantom Zone number 3, Steve Gerber and Gene Colan, 1982 DC Comics. So this is kind of what they're talking about here. It got trippier during Rebirth when a theory arose that the plane was a membrane between the DC universe and the gnarly upside down dark multiverse from which all the quote unquote evil Batman variants seen during Dark Knight's Metal and Dark Knight's Death Metal came from. Batman Who Laughs, #1, 2018. Get it. Continue on. Let me see what's going on. Already at 50 minutes. One day, laugh out loud. Crunchyroll or Funimation? Nope. Don't. High Dive? Nope. I pirate all my anime and then buy the ones I like. Bleach anime returning? Yep. We did talk a bit about that. The Phantom Zone is most often depicted as a wasteland or limbo that, when you boil it down, is little more than an extra dimensional jail, even if there are ghoulish phantoms floating around that prove to be a challenge for Superman and Supergirl. Written by Philip Kennedy Johnson with art by Sia Ohm, Action Comics 2021 has a retail value of $5.99. Here is a synopsis of the book. Quote, the return of Future State's House of L. It's time to head back to tomorrow as Superman's descendants face a threat from today. This special tale connects to, in brackets, Warworld, Rising, as the actions of Clark Kent in the present reverberate, leaving long-lasting changes and a deadly threat to the House of L to reckon with. Can Brandon Kent, the Superman of his era, stop the danger from hurting the next generation? Also, for those wanting to know more about Brandon's, in brackets, relationship with Theander, the Tamaranian queen, prepare yourself for a little romance as well. Wonder if Theander is possibly a descendant of Corey and of Coriander, aka Starfire. Asavel returns. The briefly delayed Action Comics 2021, Action #1, on sale now. What do you make of the incarnation of the Phantom Zone? Let us know your thoughts on social media and comments down below. Well, it's an interesting take. See, I guess, where they'll go with it. Oops. Wrong way, Mike. Wow, now it's saying 0 people watching. I know that's not true. I think there's got to be something like 6 or 7 of us in here right now. So it says 1. Mm-hmm. That'd be at least 5 of us in here. Sorry, just. Okay, Mike, I need sleep. Everyone have a good night. All right, Toys. Thanks for being here for as long as you were. If you want to come back and see the rest of the stream, I'll have it up. So I guess I'll see you tomorrow. Night. Right. So, anyways, on to the next article here, which I know Flash made a couple videos on this. Has this been kind of going on the last couple of days? I know Hero Hey also made a video on this. So Frank Miller removed from Thought Bubble Comic Convention guest list after being accused of propagating quote unquote abhorrent anti-Muslim hate. So basically, what they're talking about here, apparently Frank Miller back about 10 years ago made a comic called War on Terror, which had the real world organization, terror organization, Al Qaeda doing bad things, and the protagonist of the story going after them. And of course, he apologized for it in 2018, but it apparently wasn't enough. And you just never apologize to SJW because it's never enough. So, anyways, article written by Spencer Bakuli, published earlier today. So here we go. This one. Legendary comic book industry veteran Frank Miller, whose bibliography includes Batman: The Dark Knight Returns, Daredevil, and 300, has been removed from the guest list for the upcoming Thought Bubble UK Comic Convention after a number of attendees threatened to boycott the event based on the belief that the creator, quote, is responsible for propagation of abhorrent anti-Muslim hate, unquote. And of course, I know Yellow Flash talked about a lot about this. Frank Miller is probably the biggest name there. And they're canceling him because other creators threatened to. And then I think part of the argument they were using, well, yeah, we sacrifice one to keep the many, basically. That was basically their argument, which was a stupid argument. And they're probably going to end up losing a lot of money because a lot of people will probably cancel, demand their money back and probably not do business with them in the future. So, anyways, let's continue on with this. Miller was first announced as a guest for the North Yorkshire, England-based comic convention on June 2nd, with his name being emphasized to the same degree as fellow guests Joelle James, Wonder Girl, and Christian Ward, New Mutants, on a promotional poster for the event released that same day. And here is that poster. Though Miller's initial invitation announcement seemed to come and go without any incident, on July 27th, award-winning cartoonist and small press publisher Shortbox founder Zainab Akhtar revealed that they would, quote, no longer be attending Thought Bubble Festival this November, unquote, in protest of Miller's attendance. Now, I don't know if too many people know who this Zainab Akhtar is. But, fact is, he's going to end up losing money because if he thinks people are going to, a huge line is going to be showing up for him, then he's got another thing coming, I think. In a statement announcing her protest of the convention, Akhtar asserted, quote, as a proud Muslim woman. That's almost an ironic twist, considering that in the Muslim culture, they make women completely cover up. They basically are considered second-class citizens in there, yet she's promoting them, okay? I cannot in good conscience attend a festival that deems it appropriate to invite and platform Frank Miller, a person who is responsible for the propagation of abhorrent anti-Muslim hate, particularly via his work, unquote. Again, this goes back to, and I think it's actually 2006. I originally said 2011. I think it was originally 2006 that his comic War on Terror came out. fact that he published a book that was pretty historically accurate, makes him a Muslim phobe, basically, which is stupid. Anyways, will do. Working stiff. Mm-hmm. Hey, Woody. There's no forgiveness in the Church of Woke. No, there isn't. If anything, I think they are actually more agents of the devil. I think they are demons, Woody, quite honestly. We're at the 1 hour mark here. Quote, anti-Muslim bigotry is repugnant and condemnable, yet has become so deeply rooted, so widely accepted in society that it is not even given a cursory consideration, as evidenced once again in the situation, unquote. Akhtar continued, quote, I cannot comprehend how time and time again festivals and communities within comics espouse values regarding inclusivity, diversity, comics being for everyone, zero tolerance on hate, but all that lip service evaporates when they are asked to enact those same values. Yeah, and guess what, little girl? Your little tantrum is going to cost a lot of people a lot of money because Frank Miller is the biggest name you got going to that con, and you got it. Yeah, great job getting Frank Miller canceled. Well, guess what? Say goodbye to probably like 75 to 85% of the money you would have made, you little twit, little twitiot. In a follow-up tweet, Akhtar stated that though she had, quote, first contacted Thought Bubble about this privately 8 weeks ago, unquote, and had been, quote, assured action would be taken, unquote, Miller's continued invitation made her feel as if, quote, it's been communicated to me that I am the acceptable loss repercussions to my career and income over repercussions to theirs, unquote. Well, they should have stood up to her, a little tirade, and kept Miller, but though Akhtar does not cite any specific instance of any anti-Muslim bigotry from Miller, it is assumed that she's referring to his creation of Holy Terror, a graphic novel in which an original character known as the Fixer sets out to battle Al Qaeda. Originally developed for DC as a Batman story, Holy Terror would release to widespread criticism, as many believe the story depicted the religion of Islam rather than the specific terrorist group Al Qaeda as the book's villain. Again, people going woke. However, while Miller stood by his work upon its publication in 2006, he has since changed his opinion of the self-admitted quote unquote propaganda story. Quote, when I look at Holy Terror, which I really don't do all that often, I can really feel the anger ripple out of the pages. There are places where it is bloodthirsty beyond belief, unquote, Miller told the Guardian Sam Thielman. Yeah, I almost get the impression he felt like he had to kind of bend the knee, and I think that he should not have done that. That statement right there sounds more like bending the knee than anything else. I don't think he should have done that. In 2018, quote, I don't want to go back and start erasing books I did, he replies. Quote, I don't want to wipe out chapters of my own biography, but I'm not capable of that book again, unquote. Flash would say, never, never apologize to an SJW. Never. as Akhtar's tweet soon sparked calls to boycott the entire convention amongst her supporters, though Thought Bubble ultimately announced on July 28th that Frank Miller will not be attending Thought Bubble, unquote. It shows you where their genitalia is, doesn't it? Quote, over the last 14 years, Thought Bubble has grown into an amazing community of comic creators and fans who we love, trust, and respect. We have let you down, and in our commitment to maintaining Thought Bubble as a safe space for all woke BS, we have fallen short, unquote. Read the convention organizer statement. Read the convention organizer statement. Quote: we exist to share the art form and its worlds with people. If any individual, group, or community feels uncomfortable or excluded from our show, then we failed, unquote. Well, yeah. Here's the thing, though. You failed anyways. Because, yeah, while you're catering to this Akhtar, to Miss Akhtar, you're alienating all the Frank Miller fans. And there are a lot more of them who would have been attending your convention than her little group. Because Frank Miller is considered a legend. You know, War and Terror, or Holy Terror, I guess is what it's called. That wasn't his only work. He had the Batman graphic novel that is probably his most notable work, and a lot of those fans you just alienated by giving into this twit. So great job, Thought Bubble. That's a great business decision. Yay! Let's go with the minor person instead of sticking with the major person, the person who would have brought you in a lot of cash. Good luck, having any good business in the future. Because even if people try to ask for refunds and you refuse to give it to them, yeah, you may have your money this year, but you probably won't have a lot of money going years forward. Quote: we know that many of you are disappointed in us and have been expecting a comment on this before now. Unquote. They continued. Quote: we are sorry for our silence while we've been trying to fix this. Frank Miller will not be attending Thought Bubble. Let me see if anything's been said on this. Yeah, so nothing new there. And of course, now it's saying 0 people are watching for some reason. Counter is. I know there's got to be at least one other person in here, not even counting me, as watching. Everybody's still here, even though it counter is saying 0. Close enough. Continuing their statement, the organizers further affirmed they were deeply sorry, particularly to those, quote, deeply sorry, particularly to those who we should be standing up for the most, unquote, and hoped, quote, that you can give us the opportunity to make this better, and we thank you for holding us accountable, unquote. Yeah, they're bending the knee. Yeah, let's get down on all fours and act like little puppy dogs. Quote, we know there is still more to discuss, and we will be replying to those who but been in touch. We hope you can bear with us while we do this. Unquote. The statement concluded, quote, we won't let you down again, unquote. What do you make of Thought Bubble's disinvitation of Frank Miller? I think it's stupid. I think it's stupid. I think Frank Miller was basically the biggest name there. Canceling him is stupid. You know, it's what's that old saying? The idea of chopping off your own nose to spite your own face. Chopping off your nose to spite your own face. Is that what it is? Essentially, what they did. Because most of the people were going there probably to see, you're probably now, as we speak, are probably getting people canceling, asking for refunds, as you're kind of doing a bait and switch here. You kowtown to, you still would have made a lot of money if you kept him, and if those other creators had chosen to bail, let them bail. They can go find another con if they don't, Is Jamie Marchi a bad? Well, most people would say she's a bad person. I don't know why you keep bringing some of this up, Ransom. I mean, if you really want to talk about this stuff, you should save this stuff for when we have our next open mic night in September. We can talk about it then. You can come in. Come into the stream when I open it up for everybody, and we can talk about that if you really want to talk about that. I mean, her voice works okay, but she's just not a very nice person. I think a lot of people are just find her not to be a very nice person for what she's done to Vic. In fact, we haven't even talked about her or Monica or any of that in a while because there hasn't been much to talk about. And we don't really keep up on the Twitter scuttlebutt because it's just stupid after a while. And as always, guys, I know I haven't said this much tonight because I've been like going through the articles and stuff, but I do appreciate any all the likes and shares. Hopefully, we can get some more people in here. Redheads are trouble, all of them. Yeah, but I'm sure they're pretty fun if you do get a chance to, if you do ultimately tame one and get a chance to play with them, Woody. That's at least what I've heard. All right. So, anyways, now on to the anime stories of the night. And we actually are going to have 6 of these we're going to go through. And as usual with CBR, they probably usually go pretty quick. So let's see now. Right, so let me get down to the. All right, so here's the first story we're going to go through here. You heard of Shino Neta? Vaguely. I've seen the name before. So, anyways, so let's get into the article here. Pokemon: Why Serena will never return to the series. Pokemon fans who have been waiting for Serena's return had better get comfortable. Article by Ryan McCarthy, published 15 hours ago. So one of the Serena, the coordinator from with Bonnie and Pokemon fans around the world rejoiced after Serena gave Ash his first kiss when she said goodbye at the end of the anime's Kalos adventure. Um, Amor shippers, amor the Spanish French word for love. Uh, Amor shippers, fans who suspected and hoped for a romantic relationship between Ash and Serena were indisputably vindicated by the surprisingly heartfelt. Oh, this it's just kind of funny in that I know people have been trying to hook Ash up with a number of the, Serena was one of them. A lot of people were saying there was some issues. There were some possible romantic fires there between him and Misty. But look, the guy's been 10 years old for like 20 plus freaking years, 25 years. He's been 10 years old. And it's kind of funny because I don't think the shippers are like this, but I'm sure if people were trying to ship Ash with any of the number of the female characters in here, there'd be almost hell to pay. Oh, how dare you try to ship 10-year-olds? No, this is just a bit of a twist here. All right. So, anyways, however, Pokemon fans learned the hard way that they should be careful what they wish for. This moment is directly responsible for Serena's continued absence from the series. Well, also Pokemon is a kids series. They're not going to be having a whole lot of romantic stuff going on. I mean, yeah, Brock being goofy, that's about the extent of it. I think that's about the extent of it. Pokemon takes advantage of its longevity by occasionally bringing back Ash's former traveling companions to temporarily join him on his current journey. Misty and Brock have made several reappearances, and even Tracy pops up now and again. May returned in Sinnoh and Pokemon Journeys. Pokemon Journeys has seen the return of Iris, Dawn, and the entire Aloha gang. The entire Aloha gang. Max, Shalon, Clement, and Bonnie have never rejoined Ash, but they've appeared as cameos or in special episodes set after they've parted ways with him. This leaves Serena as Ash's only traveling companion who has reappeared. This leaves Serena as Ash's only traveling companion who has who has never reappeared at all since her journey with Ash ended. And that's been a bit of a twist. I think he meant to say has never reappeared since their journey ended together. Interestingly, Serena is the only one of all the girls Ash has ever traveled with that he personally invited along. Their friendship has never featured any of the childish antagonism that his friendship with Misty is famous for. Serena truly respects and admires Ash for who he is, and the two have a strong bond. Considering how popular Serena is, how popular her relationship with Ash is, it seems like it would be a no-brainer for the show to bring her back. But again, I think part of the problem here is this is a kid's show, and the whole idea of having Ash engage in any kind of romance is just EOA. Pokemon Journeys is basically the franchise's victory lap. Many classic characters like Gary Oak have already had cameos, so it makes sense for that fans are clamoring for Serena's long overdue return. At the time of writing, Dawn has just made her grand re-return to the series, having already come back once before during Ash's Unova campaign. That the series would opt to bring Dawn back a second time before bringing Serena back once doesn't bode well for the chances of it ever happening. Again, I think a big part of it is because of the fact this is again still a kids show. And if they were trying to, if particularly with all these all these shippers and all that, trying to like ship relationships for Ash, again, this is a kid's show. They're not going to. I don't think they're going to really have any serious romantic entanglements for this show for Pokemon. I'm sorry, people, but it's a kid's show. Okay, it has always been a kid's show. It's very cartoony. A world where dirty jokes don't exist. Yeah, Woody, that's pretty much the case. That is pretty much the case there. Anyways, as we continue on with the article here, Pokemon Journeys is all about wish fulfillment, and what greater wish fulfillment could there be than bringing back the girl who gave Ash his first kiss? Unfortunately, that famous kiss is precisely why Serena will likely never return to the series. If she were to appear, the subject of that kiss would need to be addressed. Pokemon is nothing if not consistent, even at the expense of Ash's character. The series is about adventure, not romance. Ding, 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 ding. Addressing Ash's and Serena's kiss would be too significant a detour from the show's MO. Again, this is a kid's show. It has always been a kid's show. You're not going to have any serious romantic entanglements. Okay? The most you're going to get is Ash, or not Ash, but Brock being goofy. Bringing Serena back without addressing that kiss would not only be a disservice to the weight it brought to the story when it happened, but it would also unleash the fury of amour shippers everywhere. Love shippers, relationship shippers, kind of thing. Pokemon finds itself in the strange position of having a narrative thread preventing Serena's return that is somehow both too significant to address and too significant to not address. Serena's post-Kalos limbo is truly a no-win situation for the series. True. A character like Dawn can return multiple times because it has her journey that changed her. In Serena's case, meeting Ash changed her, so her return would require more emotionally intimate character interactions than a silly kids show can afford. For better or worse, Serena's character arc is complete. Her return would either force the series to pivot away from its core tone or damage her legacy. At the end of the day, this is Ash's show, and he's not ready for the maturity that Serena's return would force upon him if Ash ever does grow up and his journey comes to an end. He may indeed walk into the sunset with Serena. Until then, she'll have to stay in the fridge. Again, kids show. Again, Ash has been 10 for 25 years. Okay? He's been 10 years old for 25 years. Now, how that's possible is beyond anybody's guess. Anyways, there we go. There we go with that article. So on to the next, or let me see. Just we're already at an hour 26. I'm gonna have to start blasting through these then. So I'm not going to really stop now. I'm just gonna read these because apparently there's not a whole lot going on the conversation. Anyways, 15 years later, Ghibli's Tales from Earthsea rings with wondrous potential. Tales from Earthsea's 15-year anniversary calls attention to the film's merits and potential of Ursula K. Le Guin's extraordinary source content. Article by Ashley Make, published 14 hours ago. July 29th, 2021 marks the 15th anniversary, and believe it or not, that's also one of our This Day in Each History things tonight. I did those before I looked at the article, so but anyways, marks the 15th anniversary of Studio Ghibli's 2006 release of Tales from Earthsea. While the fantasy film might not be the most popular among the heralded Studio Ghibli classics, it still excited many fans eager to witness Animation Studios' next big project. Sci-fi fans enamored with legendary novelist Ursula K. Le Guin's work were especially hopeful, considering her Earthsea saga inspired the film. Upon release, however, Tales from Earthsea was met with harsh criticism as Goro Miyazaki's first attempt at directing. The film struggles to live up to his father Hayao Miyazaki's work and reach the greatness that so many Ghibli films achieve. That being said, the film's 15th anniversary calls attention not only to the extraordinary potential of Le Guin's classic content as a Ghibli film, but also the redeemable pieces of the adaptation's strenuous yet earnest work. The aesthetics from Earthsea's compelling adaptation. With a scattered and oftentimes murky plot fueled by unearned and maladroit messages, Tales from Earthsea has many weaknesses which at first seem disappointing and irredeemable. The film is commonly called Studio Ghibli's worst production, as it was squished into a tight deadline and thrown into the hands of an inexperienced director. Yet, in spite of these setbacks, the film does have its merits and plenty of promising content worthy of reassessment 15 years after its disheartening release. These merits shine much brighter. Tales from Earthsea, though jumbled, beautifully captures many of the aesthetic and fantastical elements of Ursula K. Le Guin's stories. The animation, especially the impressive dragons and stylish character designs, made the novelist fantasy come alive. The author even reacted to the gorgeously animated, fantastical, and pastoral scenes, admitting, quote, or quote, unquote, I recognize my Earthsea. Other auxiliary facets of the production, like the original musical score, are wonderful, bolstering a robust and aesthetic retelling of the adventures of Le Guin's world. The wistful song, quote, Terra no Uta, unquote, is a lovely melody that delicately conveys young Theru's emotions and helps her connect to protagonist Eren. Um, Excuse me a moment. I'm going to step away from the computer for a moment to go grab a drink. I'll be right back. And what he just said, next article. I'll be right back. Yeah, I may go a little long on this article on this, tonight due to the fact that we have a refreshing drink. Yeah, I may go a little long on this because I know I spent quite a bit of time on some of the earlier articles. So, and Nick, of course, is on night. I guess with direct. It's dress cast July time for some truth. So, I guess um so anyways, continue on here in a quick moment. One more sip of the soda, and then I'll get back to reading this article. The entrance of Archmage Ged, or quote unquote Sparrowhawk, the hooded wizard with a familiar face scarred by shadow, made a great impression in Tale's Mercy. His stoic mentorship to Eren was well depicted and affable, and his powerful conflict with the villainous Cobb made for an interesting spin. The powerful wizard, who was the protagonist of the first Earthsea novel, had a grounding presence in the story, which helped connect the hodgepodge pieces of Legine's saga. Some have regarded Tales from Earthsea as slow and dull, but the story arguably moves along just as quickly as other early Ghibli classics like Castle in the Sky or Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. Events may not tie together as successfully as the Gene style in Tales from Earthsea, but the pace is reflective of Ghibli's peaceful and pensive aura as the characters move from city to country and every place in between. The unrealistic expectations from Tales of Earthsea. Shortly after Hayao Miyazaki won Best Animated Feature Oscar for Spirited Away, Ursula K. Le Guin sold the adaptation rights for Earthsea to him. Unfortunately, Hayao was too focused on Howl's moving castle to pick up another project. So the Earthsea adaptation fell into his son Goro's hands. Now Goro, over the years, has become a director in his own right. You know, let's see. Hayao was against Goro taking on from Earthsea as his first ever project as director. But nevertheless, the determined newcomer charged forward with plans to complete the project without his father's support. Pushed to storyboard and produce in a tight time frame, um, excuse me, Miyazaki was tasked with picking and choosing essential elements from four of Le Guin's epic Earthsea novels to weave and into the adapted story. The events of the novels expand over the course of multiple decades, tackling complicated concepts concerning mortality, ambition, and persecution. Le Guin, understandably, was disappointed with how the film um, squeezed in her themes, saying the messages about quote unquote life and death and the quote unquote balance weren't earned, coming across as quote unquote heavy handed and quote unquote preachy. In spite of Tales from Earthsea's failure to stick the landing on such lofty ideals, the film did resonate with many who connected to Aaron's experience with anxiety and his difficulties with self control. After killing his father due to an unexplainable violent impulse, Aaron runs away from the past and his confusing alter ego throughout his journey. In the end, he learns the best way to cope with his inner agony is to take responsibility for what he did, turning himself in for murdering his father. Tales from Earthsea couldn't capture its source material's endless insight, but in terms of protagonist development, it did excel in its own unique ways. Le Guin's long and profound Earthsea saga sets a high bar, but if you abandon the unrealistic expectations, Goro Miyazaki actually managed to put together a passable story into a singular movie, which his father Hayao professed, quote, quote unquote, um, was made honestly, so it was good. Le Guin detached her work from the film, saying, quote, it is not my book, it is your movie, unquote, but still affirmed, quote, it is a good movie, unquote. Resurrecting the Earthsea story. And this is a lengthy article for CBR. Usually the CBR articles go pretty quickly, but man, I've hit upon a couple of lengthy ones here. Oops. Oops, Dad. Sorry, I accidentally killed you. uh, Ursula K. Le Guin passed away in January 2018, but her work deserves to live on by Studio Ghibli's hands. Recognizing Tales from Earthsea on its 15th anniversary prompts a newfound opportunity to draw inspiration from her brilliance. Even with numerous setbacks and imperfections, the film is teeming with potential as an Earthsea treasure. In fact, many Ghibli fans were encouraged to read Le Guin's books after watching. After the first disappointing sci-fi TV adaptation of Earthsea in 2004 and the displeased consensus from Tales from Earthsea, many have been led to believe her genius work is simply unadaptable. This kind of thinking fixates on the downfalls of the few attempts without uplifting the moments of beauty and wonder of the Earthsea world. Probably can be done. Somebody's just got to have a mind to do it and to really adapt it as true to form as possible. Le Guin's initial suggestion for a Studio Ghibli adaptation was to tell an entirely original story set within the decade spanning the story. Moving forward, Ghibli might consider stepping away from Ged and Aaron as central characters, instead using Tales from Earthsea as a stepping stone into entirely new territory. Just because Tales from Earthsea wasn't spectacular in every regard, that doesn't mean Ghibli um, should abandon the potential of Le Guin's exquisite stories and world building. While there's no way to change what Tales from Earthsea turned out to be 15 years ago, there are many ways to learn from the project and create something new. Oh, there we go. There we go with that one. I think we do have like 4 stories left, and I think I should hopefully be able to get to those very quicker. I might go a little quicker. So as we get ready to continue moving ahead here. And I again thank everybody for the likes and shares. Hopefully can at some point get more people in here. Okay, so here's the next article we're going to talk about here. Anime Expo 2022 will return as a live event in LA. After canceling their 2020 convention and going virtual in 2021, Anime Expo will return to Los Angeles as a live event in 2022. Oh, here, 30th anniversary, of course. Following 2 years of setbacks due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, Anime Expo has announced that the convention will return as a live in-person event in 2022. Yeah, that's going to be interesting, especially considering that Anime Expo is like considered the biggest anime convention of all time. Anime Expo announced via press release that the event will return to its traditional venue of the Los Angeles Convention Center in 2022 for in-person festivities. The convention was canceled in 2020 shortly after quarantine and stay-at-home orders were mandated, marking the first time that the convention missed a year in its almost three-decade history. The expo returned as an online-only streaming event in 2021, with ticket sales being donated to the Hate is a Virus Community Action Fund, a nonprofit organization that provides resources for Asian American and Pacific Islander communities and fights against the rise of anti-Asian hate crimes and discrimination across the country. Anime Expo says that it was able to donate over 77,000 to the group thanks to the 2021 ticket sales, as the online convention drew over 375,000 viewers across the world. Anime Expo began in 1992, and for the first 2 years of the event was held at venues in Northern California. The convention moved to the Anaheim Convention Center in 1994, has since grown to be the largest anime-focused convention in North America. The convention then moved to the larger Los Angeles Convention Center, which is also the venue that hosts the yearly E3 gaming convention in 2009 and has been held there on most years ever since. The 2021 online-only convention featured the first look at Lucasfilm's Star Wars Visions anthology, which is being produced by some of the top animation studios in Japan, and the premiere of the Shikizakura CG animated movie. While public health mandates related to the pandemic have not been completely lifted, many conventions in the United States have already started to hold in-person events. The Anime Matsuri convention was held earlier in July in Houston, Texas, and the PAX Gaming Convention will also return this year, though officials for the event have announced that attendees will need to show proof of vaccination or recent negative COVID-19 test in order to be admitted. Fans interested in attending Anime Expo 2022 can sign up for updates for the event through the convention's website. So, anyways, there we go with that one. Batgoat, you're here finally. Unless they cancel it again, yeah, Woody. Unless they cancel it again. Sorry, I'm here finally. What up, Mike? What up, Woodrow? Not much, Batgoat. Basically, I had 10 stories to get through tonight. I've got through, I think, 7 of them. We might run a little late tonight so we make sure we get through these. So we have tomorrow night to spend on all the, well, so excited. My unstable disc I ordered finally arrived. I ordered them like 2 weeks ago. Oh, that's cool. Go late. I'm down. Hey, Batgoat. I do know that because I did when I looked over at the YouTube screen. I do know that Nick, of course, is streaming tonight, and I think he's got Drexel on with him tonight. So, but yeah, tonight's been kind of a slow night. You hear late, Batgoat, and Woody's really. Toys was here earlier, but he had to leave because he's got work tomorrow. But you're the only other person. And we did have like some of the newer guys like Void Ranger and them come in. Attorney Tom was a great guest the other night. All right. So, anyways, getting back to the articles here, and basically all of them are remaining that are anime related. And here's the next one: Jujutsu Kaisen movie. So, Jujutsu Kaisen releases first teaser trailer. The first footage from the upcoming Jujutsu Kaisen prequel movie showcases the bond between the movie's protagonist and the curse that haunts him. Article by Michael Lacerna, published 12 hours ago. First footage from the upcoming Jujutsu Kaisen Zero prequel movie has been released. The new trailer was revealed today following a countdown timer appearing on the movie's official website. The new footage showcases the prequel movie's protagonist, Yuta, along with the spirit that protects him, Rika. The highly anticipated film is scheduled to premiere on December 24th, Christmas Eve, and is being produced by Studio Mappa, who also animated the first season of Jujutsu Kaisen anime, as well as other series such as Attack on Titan and the upcoming anime adaptation of Chainsaw Man. Jujutsu Kaisen Zero is the story of Yuta Okotsu, a young man who is haunted by the spirit of a young girl he was once in love with, Rika. Unfortunately for the young couple, Rika's spirit has become a curse, a malevolent spirit that feeds on humanity's emotions. While Rika originally wanted to protect Yuta, her spirit has now become a malicious beast that hurts anyone who gets close to him. Not wanting to see anyone else get hurt, Yuta takes a self-imposed exile until he is brought to Jujutsu High, where he learns how to control Rika's power, and uses it to combat other dangerous curses. While this prequel does not feature Jujutsu Kaisen protagonist Yuji Itadori, many other popular characters from the main series, such as Satoru Gojo and Toge Inumaki, do appear in the story. Season 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen anime is also currently in production but has no scheduled release date. The manga will resume publication this August, following a 2-month hiatus that was initiated over concerns surrounding series creator Gege Akutami's health. Oh, there we go with that one. So, May just got here. Let's see now. All right. Woody, have you watched any MGTOW podcasts? I just don't think I'll be able to stomach like 2 hours dragged, just saying. Instability in disc is a good thing. Yes, unstable is good for beginners like me. Really good. Yeah, I hear you back, Go. I had these I had these things figured out in about 1988 with my paternity suit. Oh boy. Hello. Hey, May. Hi, MM from Woody. Sup, Woody and Goat and Mike? Not much, but Attorney Tom is a natural good foil for Nick. Oh my God, they're so cool. I forgot the one disc has Millennium Falcon in the foreground and the fighters in the back. I'm so throwing tomorrow. I will be sober and on time, Mike. And I'll remember to send you the StreamYard link sometime that afternoon, back goat. So I hope you will be. You know, so we can get through those comics. I'm excited for Jujutsu Kaisen Zero movie, but I hope people don't bleep on it, mess on it. Check out some of it on the rerun. Hi, Mimi from Batgoat. At Batgoat. So, I'll be trying to finish one of the stories tonight. Sounds good. I'll be here. I spelt through the day. Tonight I will be doing what I need to do. All right. So, anyways, we still got at least a couple more stories, I believe. Try to get through those pretty quick. Try to wrap up soon here. How many stories do we have left? Oh, actually, we only got one more story left. This is actually going to be the last story of the night right here. Street Fighter story. Rare Street Fighter anime now available in English. Return to the Fujiwara capital, an educational 1995 anime starring Street Fighter 2 characters is finally viewable with English subtitles. Article by Jeremy Bloom, published 10 hours ago. A rare Street Fighter 2 educational anime that was only released in limited quantities 26 years ago, so 1995, is now viewable on YouTube with English subtitles. Bearing the translated titles, Street Fighter 2 returned to the Fujiwara capital, the fighters who leapt through time. The 22-minute short, produced by Studio Pierrot, was released to coincide with a 1995 exhibition in Japan's Nara Prefecture. Street Fighter 2 developer Capcom was a partner for the exhibition, celebrated the city of Fujiwara, which was the imperial capital of Japan from the year 694 to 710. I'm gathering that's AD. Starring Street Fighter mainstays Ryu, Ken, Chun-Li, and E. Honda, the anime sends each character back in time to Fujiwara through a mysterious vortex. Once there, Ryu and Ken venture out on a tour of the capital, pointing out features like its notable grid pattern, which was based on Chinese cities of the era. Meanwhile, Chun-Li travels with envoy to Tang Dynasty China and Silla, one of the ancient kingdoms of Korea. And E. Honda is forced into harsh manual labor. End of the short, all of the world warriors miraculously return to their own time period and stare out upon the former site of Fujiwara. Chun-Li recites a famous poem by Empress Jito, the 41st rule of Japan, describing the city at the dawn of summer. Quote, spring is past, it seems, and now summer has arrived. For this, they say, is when robes of pure white are aired on heavenly Mount Kagu, unquote. Initially only available on VHS, Return to Fujiwara Capital fell into obscurity in the years after the exhibition and was only re-released in a Japan-only DVD box set in 2004. The translated version was uploaded by YouTuber Rage Quitter 87, who obtained a copy of the DVD and commissioned schmoplations.com, a site that regularly translates obscure Japanese video game interviews and magazine articles to subtitle it. Quote, I'm afraid there's no fighting, but it does look good, unquote. Rage Quitter 87 tweeted, pointing out that they had worked with schmoplations.com to release the subtitles as a fun nod to Street Fighter II's 30th anniversary. Street Fighter II debuted in Japanese arcades in 1991, hitting consoles 1 year later. The game received a critically acclaimed anime adaptation with Street Fighter II, the animated movie, in 1994. Return to the Fujiwara Capital uses the same art style as its longer animated forebear, and the new subtitled YouTube version includes several behind-the-scenes glimpses of the anime's character designs following conclusion of the short. Yes, and I do know that I believe it was sometime in the mid to late, I think 97, I believe. It came out with another Street Fighter anime, Street Fighter V, that of course did air on one of the cable channels here in the States. I think it was Encore Wham or something like that for a while. There were Sci-Fi Mondays. That was pretty popular. You had Stephen Bloom voicing Dulcim in that, doing the English voice for Dulcim in that. Kirk Thornton, I believe, doing the voice of Guile. See, you had Tom Weiner doing the English voice of Bison. Leah Sargent doing the English voice of Chung-Li in that. And Ryu was being voiced by, I believe it was Skip Strelect, who is currently the voice of the English voice of Mike Guy on Naruto. A guy, you know. So anyway, so that's it for the main articles tonight. So we just went just a little over, and we still have this day in each history. So we'll get to that pretty quick here. Let's see what you guys are saying thus far. Let's see. All right, let's see. That's when you sleep through the day while dreaming you are in a spelling bee. I noticed spelt sleep wrong. Rage Quitter, gotta admit, great handle. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I thank you guys for being here. I think we'll wind down now. Before we go, of course, do as always. I'm going to ask, are you guys ready for this day in each history? All right, so are we ready for history, guys? Let's see. History time. Okay. All right. So without no further ado, of course, today being Thursday, July the 29th, 2021, let's take a look back at this day in each history. And of course, our first stop is going to take us back to 1951, believe it or not. On this day in 1951, skip to the bottom. Yeah. 1951. On this date, 70 years ago today, um, Marvel Comics, as Classic Syndicate Incorporated, um, set, um, set out onto newsstands the fifth issue of Spy Fighters, which, from the looks of it, I believe is a spy anthology. So, as Classic Syndicate Incorporated, Marvel released on the newsstand Spy Fighters the fifth issue of Spy Fighters. On this date in 1951, it was a bi-monthly title. It cost you 10 cents for 32 pages. Of course, the legend Stan Lee was the editor of this, as he was with many of these titles. So on this date, 70 years ago today, Spy Fighters number 5 from Classic Syndicate Incorporated, which later became Marvel Comics, went on sale on this day on newsstands. Nietzsche's good now. Okay, so with that, let's move on to the next piece in Nietzsche history. As on this date 30 years ago today, in Memphis, a wrestler by the name of Awesome Khan. This is not the TNA knockout that was out just a few years ago. This Awesome Khan is a different wrestler altogether that did this back in 1991. 30 years ago today, Awesome Khan, the male wrestler, defeated Jerry Lawler for the USWA title on this date in Memphis 30 years ago today. This Awesome Khan is not to be confused with the female wrestler who is involved in TNA and did have a short stint in the WWE before getting pregnant. So this is a different wrestler altogether. So Awesome Kong defeated Jerry Lawler for the USWA title on this date in Memphis in 1991, 30 years ago today. And this for a guy, this Awesome Khan was Nietzsche, sung to the tune of "Whip It." Yeah, okay. This Awesome Khan for a guy was just as big as the female Awesome Khan for a woman. So, I think he was a 300. He was classified as super heavyweight, like a 350-pound guy. So, anyways, moving on to the next piece of Nietzsche history here. And it's kind of funny because even before I went through the story, because last few days I've been setting up the Nietzsche history stuff first instead of looking for the stories, because that usually goes a little quicker. So, so I found this before even going through the stories. So I did mention this earlier. And I also mentioned in the article we covered. On this date, 15 years ago today, in 2006, Tales from Earthsea, from Studio Ghibli's Tales from Earthsea would premiere on this date, 2006, 15 years ago today. And were reading the article about it just a little while ago. So it was a movie that was loosely based on Ursula K. Le Guin's stories. So on this date, 15 years ago today, Tales from Earthsea would premiere for Studio Ghibli in Japanese theaters. And finally, on this date, 10 years ago today, in 2011, Um, the 2011 Warner Brothers version of Thundercats would make its premiere on this date in 2011. On this date, 2011, this is the cat. This is of course the original Thundercats. Not the one from the 80s, but this is the one that Warner Brothers Studios did that went on Cartoon Network. This was a reboot of the 1980s Rankin Bass classic hit. So on this date, 10 years ago today, 2011 version of Thundercats premiered on Cartoon Network. So there you go, guys. We got through all of that tonight. Austin still had hair back. Yes, he did. And well, Woody, you might know this because I don't know if you were in that area at the time, but I think you know full well that that's actually where Steve Austin actually started his career in the USWA there in Memphis. He was a student of Chris Adams, supposedly. So you got to start there. So, but this isn't the Thundercats Go mess, is it? No, it's not Batco. That's not the one that I'm talking about. Is not the Thundercats Go. Thundercats Go is, from what I understand, something that just came out within the last couple of years here. No, this Thundercats series was on Cartoon Network, and it also had, of course, one of the ways they did kind of connect it to the 80s Rankin Bass series was they had Larry Kenney, who had voiced Lionel in the Rankin Bass series, come back and play Claudius in this series. So, niche it up. Yeah, you're a little late. We're done with the niche, maybe. But anyways, guys, thank you again for being with me tonight. We ran a little long. I do appreciate you guys being here tonight. I thank you for all the likes and shares. Don't forget tomorrow and back out. As I said, I'll get you the StreamYard link around midday tomorrow. Don't forget tomorrow night we're going back into the historical comic retrospect where we'll be looking back to February of 1938. We'll be looking through DC, so we'll be looking through. We of course doing some of our good buddies like the hard-boiled detective Slam Bradley, Speed Saunders, Steve Carson and the Federal Man. Be reading through some of those. Dr. Colt and actually there are two stories of Radio Squad this time, so I'll get through those. So, anyways. Let me finish it. Okay, cool. Didn't know that. Peace all. See you tomorrow. I will have trophy update for all y'all. The LOL trophy. Thundercats reboot is bad. Cartoon Network need to listen to us and bring back the 2011. Yeah, well, 2011 reboot. Okay, so Meme, the original Thundercats was actually done by Rankin Bass back in the 80s. It was the one that Batgoat, Woody, and I would have probably, well, I don't know. Yeah, Batgoat, Woody, and I would have been watching. So that's the original. The 2011 one was a reboot. HM. Slam. Yep. All right, guys. Well, thank you all again, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.